Harry and Meghan, by extension, will not be coming to the Prince Philip Memorial because they can't have security. So that's the Sun. And this row's been building, hasn't it, James?
As we look at the details, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, they say they don't feel safe unless they've got the full protection of armed Met guards. Look, I don't think they'd be hung out to dry. Of course they're going to be provided with security, but this has turned into one of those weird points of principle that Harry and or Meghan think that they should be fighting out in public. It's absolutely bizarre, and frankly, they're not members of the royal family anymore. It's their choice. If they don't want to go, don't go. But don't ask the British taxpayer to pay for your security. Thanks very much.
Yeah, but I don't think that's what happened, is it? Because they said we want security. The Met said no. And then Harry said, OK, well, listen, I'll pay for it, but I just must have it.
I think there had been a legal challenge mounted to try and be allowed to pay for Met Police protection. And I think this goes to a tension at the heart of the royal family, which is, of course, Meghan and Harry have stepped back from their formal role as senior members of the royal family. But that hasn't made them any less famous. That hasn't made them any less at risk. So practically, it's hard to see why there is any good reason other than formality to deny them the same protection as other royals. But look, I'm of the opinion that they should all be paying for their own private security anyway, so I'm probably not the best advocate for Meghan and Harry's interests.
James, I saw you shaking your head during that.
Well, what a surprise. I mean, I think that the point here is it's actually about the precedent that's set. That, for example, we know there are a lot of famous people on this planet, and they often come to the UK, and they have their own security detail, and they work out what they're going to do. I don't particularly want to have people who decide that they can hire the Met Police other than for big events. So say, for example, am I happy for a football club to pay for their security or extra security? Yes. But I'm not sure I'm particularly happy about someone saying, I'm really famous and therefore I would like to have armed security and I'll pay for it. No, thanks very much indeed, because then you end up with a very two-tiered system. The Met Police have to decide who's going to get protection and what protection they're going to get. And that should be based on the same for pretty much anybody who becomes famous. Jeremy, I dare say you on occasion might need some assistance or whatever it is.
Storm will be there for me. That's fine, yeah. No, but I've not thought that, if I had to go to Chelsea playing away, I might just ring up the Met and say, is there any chance you could send a couple of officers? I'm not, even if I offered to pay, I just don't think that's... I don't know. You're going to talk about this later, Storm.
I think we are, yeah. I mean, it's really, really unusual, this. Harry is the first member of the royal family, we believe, to sue Her Majesty's government. So that's an interesting point in itself.
I think we have to ask two questions and think about two things. Has Prince Andrew still got police protection?
Yes.
Having been stripped of everything else? And the answer is yes. And the other question to ask, really, is what would happen if he or his family were to come here and something terrible happened? All these people who are making these decisions, and the many people in this country who've kind of grown a hatred of these two for reasons I cannot fathom, what will they say? We've had 2 assassinations of 2 MPs. Are they not worried that something, we are in a very volatile historical place where there's a lot of anger. So I'm kind of wondering why one rule for Prince Andrew and one for Prince Harry, who has not knowingly been charged with doing anything terribly bad. And the second is, what will the country do if something does happen?
Well, perhaps the argument to that is that Andrew actually still lives here. Harry has moved to America, where he is incredibly high-profiled and potentially a target. He pays for his own security there. So what's the problem when he comes here to pay for his own security here, Yasmin?
Well, because he can't bring his American security people here, because, as it has been pointed out, they have no jurisdiction, quite rightly, under British in a British state. He has said he's willing to pay. His dad should pay. His brother could pay. The money is not the issue. I think the issue is there's been such a lot. I have never in all of my journalistic life seen such hatred. It has been astonishing to witness.
It's true, isn't it, Mike, actually? He has been vilified quite a lot at times, and so maybe he does need this protection.
Well, look, I appreciate some of what Yasmin's saying, but I don't hate Prince Harry. I feel very sorry for Prince Harry. I think he's, got himself into a position where he can't really win, to be honest. To answer the question about security, Andrew gets it, as you pointed out, Storm, because he still lives here. Harry deliberately went into exile. Now, in that exile, he's paying £7,000 a day. Can you believe that? For his own personal security in Los Angeles. When he lived in Canada, before he went to Los Angeles, he was still under the jurisdiction of the British government, and we were spending £600,000 a year security to protect him, and they were Scotland Yard police officers working in Canada. The point is that Harry hasn't yet got he hasn't got the equation right. He's wanted to get out of the royal family, but now insists that some of the privileges which are enjoyed by the royal family, he should be entitled to when he comes back.
We're going to take a call now. We're going to speak to Kevin. And you disagree with Mike. You think there should be police protection for Harry?
I just think what he just said there is offensive.
What part of it?
His mother died under terrible circumstances that if the minimum security had been offered to her, maybe she'd be alive. He is Prince Harry. Now, to an Islamic terrorist, he's still a royal. So we can say he's no longer a royal, but he still is a royal. And he's only asking for protection for his wife and 2 children because he's frightened that anything could happen. And he's offered to pay. Now, we hire out police to football grounds, etc. So the argument that we don't hire out the police is completely false. But if he come over here and anything should happen to him and his wife, God forbid, but it would be the end of the royalty.
Now, you've described Harry's request for police protection as nonsensical. Can you explain why that is, why it's nonsensical?
Well, with all respect to your listeners and your last caller, we, the Metropolitan Police, have been doing this for 300 years. Somebody much wiser than I, in conjunction with the intelligence services, had come to a conclusion in their sort of structured manner that this doesn't warrant him getting protection, because the risk allegedly, and I say allegedly because I'm not party to the risk assessment, is low. It is low for other members of the royal family who have had protection taken away. As I understand it, and it's only an understanding, a number of what we refer to as senior royals don't get 24-hour protection. So that's the crux of the scenario. I feel sorry for Harry in one sense, and I certainly don't hate him. He was a little boy when I was in command of royalty protection, but he has chosen a path, and as some would say, it's now perhaps for a court to decide who is right on this. And it's sad. It's sad because we've had all the issues for Her Majesty in her 70th year. She's had to deal with Andrew, and that is ongoing. Now she has this. And again, this is going to cost even more money for the taxpayer. If he's at risk, if the assessment was made that he is at risk, he will get it in the same way as you and I. At the moment, the risk assessment, and I say again, we've been doing it for 300 years, and most of the time we've got it right. I say, let's look at the facts, not known to most of you or most of me now, whether or not he deserves protection.
Okay, I hear what you're saying there, but, I'm going to put a point to you that Yasmin said. Private security doesn't have the same information. They're not allowed to have weapons. And Harry's offering to pay. What if the Met Police could work with their private security to offer them the same sort of information so they felt empowered enough to protect Harry? Would that be something that the Met Office could do, the Met Police could do to work together?
Well, he's entitled to bring anyone he likes with him, provided they have the requisite visas and they haven't got any record or what have you. I say again, if there was a risk, if it's deemed there was a risk, he will get protection along with the rest of the royal family. If he's coming to these large functions or ceremonials or remembrance services, all the other royals will be there. They will have protection. So he will be covered anyway by the umbrella of protection they have. If he stays with his father or his brother or his grandmother, he will be protected there because they are protected. So really, we've got to ask what areas of activity is it his multi-million business deals that he wants when he's traveling the country or doing things that he wants it for? When exactly does he want? And I say again, it's very sad that this hasn't been done privately. That's how these things are normally done. And here we are again in the 70th year of Her Majesty's reign, discussing this royal family. And again, you're right in one sense, it does engender, if you actually look at the comments, about 5,000 to 1 are against him. That's wrong. Nobody should be against Prince Harry just for being Harry. But again, I come back. We've been doing this for a long time. We normally get it right.
This is a boy who was so horribly hurt when he got when his mother was killed, and why are people not talking about why is Andrew continuing to get the protection that he's getting, having been stripped of all his ornamental stuff and all his status? This is entirely to do with Harry marrying a woman that is an outsider and doing stuff that is bold and they don't like.
I'm going to speak to Anne from Manchester, and you disagree? You don't think he should be getting this?
No, I don't think he should be getting security.
Why not?
He gets enough security in America, and if he chose to live there, let him live his life how he wants. But you cannot expect the British people to be bowing and scraping to him. It's a constant controversy with him. Every time they open their mouth, it's got to be something that's controversial, suing people all the time, and that is wrong. It's costing this country a lot of money.
I'm getting the impression, Anne, that you're not very keen on Harry, but just because we don't like somebody, just hear me out, just because we don't like someone, we should still protect them, right?
Well, I agree with that, Storm, but who protects the protection officers? Remember the incident with Princess Anne?
No, you've got a point there. Listen, thank you very much, Anne.